Hi there, Chris from TotallyEV, and here doing a dedicated audio review of the Tesla Model Y. If you like a detailed review of the vehicle itself, do check it up on your pod banner, down in the description below, or indeed in the pinned comments. Now, the Model Y shares the same audio configuration as the Model 3. At least at the time of filming, it's only available in the long range and performance models, and therefore gets the premium audio system that can be found in, well, the equivalent Model 3. Now here you've got a 14 speaker audio system. Now it should be worth bearing in mind that initially when the Model Y came out, and likewise the Model 3, there was 15 speakers, and that's because Tesla has removed one of the center speakers. Now, we'll break it down in terms of the overall audio configuration. At the front, in terms of the dashboard of the Model Y, long range or performance, you'll have 3 speakers. You've then got speakers found towards the front of the A-pillars. You've got speakers found towards the front door triangles within each of the 4 doors. And then you've got 2 rear parcel shelf speakers, although there is no rear parcel shelf, so it's all the way down towards the boot. And then you've also got a rear subwoofer. All of these accumulate to 14 speakers, and as a result give you quite a lot of dynamism within the cabin. Now, for you to tinker around with the audio settings, you can go through the infotainment system, and here you will find a multi-band equalizer. It's great to see that via a recent firmware update you can also independently adjust the subwoofer, and you've got a little bit more customization with the immersive sound. Now in our case, we've left the immersive sound as standard, and we'll touch upon why further down in this review. As for the subwoofer, we've actually left it untouched because we felt that it resulted in a good sort of sound frequency, but we did drop the bass tones by 2 notches, left the entire mid-range untouched, and dropped the top-end treble by 0.5 decibels. This is of course our own audio settings, so we'd be intrigued to hear your settings down in the comments section below. Now, in order to connect up to the infotainment system, you've got Bluetooth, where the AAC and SBC codecs are supported only. It is a shame, however, that you don't have the LDAC or aptX or aptX HD codecs, which would have further bolstered the overall audio prowess of the Tesla Model Y and equally the Tesla Model 3. Now, for audiophiles, you can use a USB playback where FLAC files are supported, and you can use the USB port found towards the glove compartment. Elsewhere, it is worth bearing in mind that you do have certain streaming services such as Tidal and Spotify, but you might need to have the premium connectivity in order to access such services. Now, with that aside, we should talk about cabin noise. Now, at a standstill we recorded 36 dBA, driving between 20 to 30 miles an hour this went up to 53 to 56 dBA, driving at 40 miles an hour this went up to 60 to 63 dBA, and driving at 70 miles an hour this went up to 70 to 73 dBA. Now, it's worth noting that we have the 20-inch rims fitted, and this will of course affect the overall tire noise. In our case, we found that the Model Y with the 20-inch rims wasn't as serene as the Model 3. And here, the Aero rims, the 18-inch rims on the Model 3, just provide a bit more of a serene in-cabin experience. Likewise, given the slightly larger profile of the Model Y, you do hear a little bit of wind deflecting off the A-pillars. Suffice to say that it's not as serene as the likes of the Model 3, and likewise not as serene as the likes of the BMW iX3, nor the Audi e-tron SUV, at least a larger variant of it. So with cabin noise out of the way, let's get on to a sound demo. I'll be placing the camera and microphone in 4 separate locations and playing back a track. It's going to be coming from Priya J, it's titled Falling. You can hear it for yourself or indeed purchase it down in the description below in case you're interested.
Young should hide, then learn how to fly. It's the only way I know how to play this game to success. I'm not quite sussed it yet. When I reach the brink, don't stop to think. I always think, and now I'm young should hide, then learn how to fly. It's the only way I know how to play this game to success. I'm not quite sussed it yet. When I reach the brink, don't stop to think. I always think, and now I'm. The thing is, my imagination is constantly racing 1,000 miles ahead. I'm living in my own mind, but it's floating. I'm always hoping, but when I reach the brink, don't stop to think. I always think, and now the thing is, my imagination is constantly racing 1,000 miles ahead. I'm living in is flowing, I'm always hoping. But when I reach the brink, don't stop the thing I always sing. And
now I appreciate the audio demo isn't ideal because it's using my microphones and indeed being compressed by YouTube, but nevertheless I thought to give you somewhat of a taster. So let's get on to my subjective opinion. First off, in terms of the sub-bass extension, it's pretty good, to say the least. It's not as good as the likes of the BMW iX3 with the Harman Kardon audio system, but it's certainly up there. The low bass rumble is definitely appreciated, and as a result, when you're listening to EDM, drum and bass, or for example R&B music, you're certainly going to appreciate that low-end extension. As for the mid-bass, it's absolutely class-leading. It provides you a tight and controlled mid-bass slam, all while providing you a very hearty one. In fact, we dialed down 2 notches on the bass EQ in order to counteract the quite forward mid-bass sound. Now, as for the mids, this is where the Tesla Model Y really stands out in comparison to the rest of the competitors. Likewise with the Tesla Model 3. The mid-range is absolutely pinpoint accurate and forward sounding, which isn't the same that could be said about the vast majority of its rivals. In fact, the only ones that we can really think of is here the Name audio system that can be found in the Bentley Bentayga Hybrid, which is a completely different breed of car. And of course, with Name's audio pedigree, it's quite surprising for some to see that Tesla is actually competing in this department. Indeed, vocal tracks come out fantastically well, be it male or female vocals, and therefore means that you can be kept engaged when you're listening back to your favourite tracks. Similarly, the highs extend really well, so much so that we found them a little bit sibilant and harsh at the top end, at least for my ears, whereby they roll off at around 16 to 17 kilohertz. I just had to dial 0.5 decibels off the top end to reduce that little bit of zing. Suffice to say, at the front of the cabin it extends really well, but unfortunately at the rear of the cabin, given the fact that you don't have those dedicated tweeters, it means the sound is a little bit more subdued, and given the size of the cabin of the Model Y in comparison to the Model 3, we really wish that Tesla had incorporated some dedicated tweeters at the rear of the cabin. Now, as for the Soundstage, this is quite an intriguing one. Now, you do have the immersion slider that you can move around, and in terms of its maximum high mode, you do have a bit more of a 3D sound, but at the expense of the overall accuracy. Likewise, if you turn it completely off, you will find that there's somewhat of a unidirectional sound and doesn't come as involving and as engaging as you might expect. As a result, leaving in terms of its standard preset provides a bit of best of both worlds. Now, at the front of the cabin, given that you're treated with so many audio drivers, you're really left engaged. But you do realise that the Model Y is a little bit bigger than the Model 3. And as a result, those rear parcel shelf speakers, so to speak, which are actually positioned on the boot lid, are further back. And as a result means that the overall spaciousness that you get from the rear of the cabin when sat at the front is a little less engaging. And means that you do get a feel of a sense of width and depth, but the overall sense of, well, engagement is not as quite as pronounced as the likes of the BMW iX3 or, for example, the Tesla Model 3. Now, what we're trying to convey over here is that we would wish that Tesla had incorporated a few extra audio drivers towards the rear of the cabin, and therefore would have given a bit more of a fulfilling experience, be it if you're sat at the front or at the back. Nevertheless, instrument separation is absolutely phenomenal. There's no problems here whatsoever, even on challenging tracks. So on the whole, the premium audio system that's comprised within the Tesla Model Y is seriously impressive, and it goes toe-to-toe with its near identical sibling, the Model 3. It further provides competition to the likes of the BMW iX3 Harman Kardon audio system and even the Name audio system found within the Bentley Bentayga Hybrid. Suffice to say, we've been left very impressed with what Tesla have achieved in the all-electric SUV market, and as a result, the Model Y's premium audio system gets our Audio Excellence Award. Now, we'll be intrigued to hear your thoughts of the system down in the comment section below, and if you've liked this detailed independent review and want to see more from the channel, definitely do drop a like, subscribe and hit that bell notification, of course, if you haven't already. As such, I've been Chris from TotallyEV, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.